It's the 5th of the 2nd, 2025, and this is your F1 news and updates because there are very many F1 centric threads at which we need to pull today. As always, Bottas's role at Mercedes as a reserve driver, mentor, coach of one Kimi Antonelli. So too, George Russell keen to have conversations with one Valtteri Bottas about his experiences at Sauber, particularly of that Scuderia Ferrari engine. So too, we need to talk about Toto Wolff, his latest statements about his chances, no Mercedes, the boys and girls from Brackley and Brixworth's chances of winning silverware yet again, once again, in the 2025 season. So too, Netflix, because there was a quote once upon a time by Toto the Boy Who Cried Wolf talking about the promise that he made to his drivers to provide them with machinery commensurate for a title challenge. Whatever happened to that? Drive to Survive, by the way, on the way soon. Max and Alonso potentially at Le Mans, and so too Nyck de Vries' comments about one Kimi Antonelli being very similar to one Maximilian Verstappen. Let's do Bottas first. Reserve driver, mentor and coach in 2025 of one Kimi Antonelli, and that's raised some eyebrows now, because if I were Kimi Antonelli, I wouldn't want Valtteri Bottas as my coach. What's that about? I'd want a Lewis Hamilton, a champion, but again, you can't get Lewis since he's now at Ferrari, so maybe Valtteri will have to do. But more interestingly, George Russell, who wants renewed rivalry with one Valtteri Bottas, please see as you Exhibit A 2021 Imola, that George Russell wants to have a chat with his new teammate, particularly about Ferrari's engines with a view to learn their secrets. Here's what George Russell told the official Mercedes F1 website, that Valtteri's experience is going to be massive for the team. Having someone with so much simulator and racing knowledge and who fully knows the team, it's going to be great. Hearing about the last few years at Sauber with that Ferrari engine, well, that could be key too. You always have to keep an open mind as to what others are doing, and he has all of that knowledge underneath his belt. Obviously, years ago, we were perceived not to have a strong relationship. Please see as your Exhibit A, the crash between King George Russell of Kings Lynn, Norfolk and Valtteri Bottas as at Imola 2021. But we are both professionals and our relationship has grown. So too, there was rumour that there was friction because they were both Toto the Boy Who Cries Wolf's boy, weren't they? And again, you can't... that town wasn't big enough for the both of them, but apparently now it is again. A marriage of convenience, some would say. King George Russell bookends with this. We often travel together and see each other at hotels or in the gym. Yeah. All roses and daisies then, as far as King George Russell and Valtteri Bottas' relationship. Oh, and by the way, Toto the Boy Who Cried Wolf has spoken up about Mercedes' chances in 2025, saying as follows, and I quote, "I hope that we draw the right conclusions from this over the winter and adjust the development directions of the car for 2025. No kidding, Sherlock. You've been saying this for the past 10 years, as near as makes no difference, or 3. He continues, "We won't be able to get rid of these fluctuations completely. We will also see them next year with all the teams. All 4 teams that won races in 2024 have experienced these ups and downs." Of course, he's talking to the weird and wacky world that is Mercedes ever since they built a W13 car that only operated in its optimum window, one of 365 days a year in high altitude tracks when only there was a full moon. If you have a performance curve that's infinitely high, but infinitely inaccessible, it makes no sense. And this was the problem, the poor decision making that Mercedes, the boys and girls from Brackley and Brixworth made in rolling forth that zero pod design into 2022, and they are still paying the penalties. Lest we forget, on Drive to Survive, Netflix's docu-series, Toto the Boy Who Cried Wolf famously even said that we owe our drivers a debt of gratitude, that we need to build them a car capable of winning races and therefore championships. Promises unfulfilled, hence the nickname Toto the Boy Who Cried Wolf. At this stage from Toto, I think the mantra, the modus operandi should be less talk, more action. Oh, and by the way, if you're a fan of Netflix's Drive to Survive, expect trailers imminently. Last year, 2024 even, get your years right, The 23rd of February is when testing started. This year it will be the 26th. On the 20th of February last year, we got our first Drive to Survive trailer, meaning therefore 26th is when testing starts this year. Expect a trailer within the next 14 days, circa the 23rd of February, as F1 fans, no Drive to Survive fans around the world, gear up for the latest iteration, season 6, season 7 potentially, of Netflix's gangbuster, blockbuster Drive to Survive series. Oh, and by the way, on Max and Alonso, Max has spoken up about partnering with Fernando El Plan Alonso, not in the F1 realm or Aston Martin. $1 billion offer, lest we forget, to drive for Aston Martin in perpetuity for the rest of his career. Now, this time he's talking about 24 hours of Le Mans. We know that Max Verstappen likes another cheeky formula now. Here's what he said. It's in the back of our minds that we want to do Le Mans. The only thing is, for Le Mans, there's no minimum weight for the driver, and I'm quite a heavy competitor. So I, says Max Verstappen, would have to find light teammates to compensate. Fernando is quite light, so that would be very good for us. But we would need to find another one or two. Lest we forget, that once upon a time, the goal for Max Verstappen was to compete in Le Mans with his dad, Jos Verstappen. But again, if that's your criteria, you need a teammate who's lightweight, then Jos Verstappen probably doesn't make the cut. Oh, the humanity. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Nyck de Vries and Antonelli, lest we forget that Mark Hughes, for the avoidance of doubt, or F1 journalist and publication, are created equal, but some are created more equal than others. Mark Hughes is one of the god tier ones, and circa Antonelli. He said the following, that he reckons on the rest of the F2 field that Kimi Antonelli is anywhere between 2 and 3 tenths quicker than them. Oh, the humanity. So too Karun Chanduk. He said that he's spoken with F3 engineers and they all think that this fella, one Kimi Antonelli, whose name I can't even remember, could be one of the goatiest one. Nyck de Vries chimes in this morning saying of Antonelli the following. He just has to be himself. He can't be Lewis. He doesn't want to put undue pressure on himself like Lando Norris did in 2024. That he deserves the opportunity alongside George Russell. He knows what he's doing. He's got to give himself some time and speed to learn. He continues, does Nyck de Vries, one-time Racing Bulls driver, that I like him a lot. I've been following him since he was in karting because he raced with Dino Chiesa like me. I have pictures with him on my phone when I joined Mercedes in Formula 1. I went to Lonato karting circuit and we took a picture together. He still looks that young, blah, 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 blah. He told DutchMotorsport.com. But I think he's a great guy. He's incredibly talented. Here's where it gets techier than techie things, chap. Nyck de Vries says he's incredibly talented and lives and breathes racing. Apart from Max, I honestly don't know anyone who lives for the sport more than he does. Oh, the humanity. What bodes well? What could bode better for Kimi Antonelli's career than that characterization? If he's that serious, that committed, if he's a racing driver and nothing else, then surely that's your ground zero formula for success, if indeed your name is Kimi Antonelli. Nyck de Vries continues, I quote, of course his father has a team in GT3 and Formula 4, so it was clear when he was going to do what he was going to do from the moment he was born. And so the young Italian has shone his way, skipping out F3, going straight through to F2. This is very similar to the career trajectory of one Maximilian Verstappen. Toto, the boy who cried wolf, will hope that he can mend for the negotiation ills of Christmas past, lest we forget that he desperately wanted to sign Maximilian Verstappen in 2015, but there was no room at the inn as far as the boys and girls from Brackley and Brixus. Toto, the boy who cried wolf, along with millions of F1 fans all around the world, would be hoping that Kimi Antonelli could be the story arc that F1 in 2025 so desperately needs. But I digress.